Good morning, Congo Crowley and Congo Cooper. This is Sister Lindsay, and welcome to your next day of math instruction. Today's date is March 24th, 2020. Quick note for parents, make sure that you check the Sankofa website for a very important update if you have not done so already. All right, so we're going to be shifting into our next unit. Our next unit has to do with place value, and we're focusing on tens and ones. So we're going to be going through our application problem first, then move on to our vocabulary, and then into our concept. And then I will give you directions for your exit ticket and your problem set. So you should be looking in your video guide to find the date for today, 3/24/2020. And let's get started with our application problem. All right, our application problem says Riley is holding 10 marbles in one hand and 10 marbles in the other hand. How many marbles does she have in all? So, of course, this is a word problem, so we're going to attack it with our cube strategy. The first part, you're going to circle the numbers. I see a 10. I see a 10. I see a 1, okay? So your application problem should look like this. Next, I'm going to underline the question. And my question is, how many marbles does she have in all? All right. And then I'm going to box my keywords. If you remember from our previous videos, we focused on words that are telling us what to do in order to solve the problem. And I see one that we talked about right in the question, in all. And in all is telling me to, if you said add, kiss your brain. All right, so Riley has 10 in one hand and 10 in the other hand. I need to put that together in order to find out how many she had in all. So on your video guide, you have a picture of two hands. You should be drawing 10 in one hand and 10 in the other hand. And your number sentence is going to be those two numbers put together. All right, so if you got 10 plus 10 equals 20, kiss your brain. She has 20 marbles in all. All right, so as we move on into place value, there's some vocabulary that we need to address first. All right, so our first vocabulary word is ones. Ones, when you have a number, it's the last number, and it means single, and you're counting them one by one. The next vocabulary word is tens. And tens, when you have a number, it's the second number to the left, and it's a group of 10, all right? The next vocabulary word is place value. And place value means how much a number is worth based on its location. So let's look back at that tens definition. This number is a 3. But because it's in the tens place, it's worth 30. It's a big difference. Make sure you keep that in mind. The next vocabulary word should be very familiar to everyone, and that is number bond. All right? The key thing to remember with a number bond, and these shapes may be different. You may have squares, you may have circles, it may be up, it may be down. But remember that the parts are here, and the whole is here. All right, so you're taking a number and breaking it into two parts. And the last vocabulary word for today, you're actually going to hear this a lot, is efficient. All right, and efficient means the best way. All right, so I actually have some tools for us to use today with our place value. And if you give me 1 second, let's bring this down a little bit so you can see Sister Lindsay's table. All right, so these are my ones. Now, I have to count them. I have to figure out how many I have. So I'm going to count one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to take all day. This does not feel efficient. I don't have enough time to really count this way. So I think a better way would be to group them together. Now, with place value, the magic number is 10. All right? The magic number is 10. Everything in place value is based on 10. So I'm going to group my ones into groups of 10. So all right. So now I have groups of 10. These are all groups of 10. All right. So if I group them by 10, I'm going to also count them by 10. All right. So 10, 20, 30, 40. That took no time. What about these extra ones over here? So I'm just going to add them in one by one. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So if I'm thinking about this through the lens of place value, then I have 4 10s and I have 8 1s. So that means my number would be 48. Okay? So here's the next thing I want you to know. So these groups of 10, I actually can replace them and it will look like a group automatically. All right? So I'm going to replace each group of 10 with one of these. When I see this stick, I know immediately that it's 10. I don't have to think about it. I know that it's 10. Each one of them I'm counting as 10. So you go away. All right. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Same thing. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. All right? Same thing. The next thing I want to talk about is working with grouping your numbers together. So let's lift this up a little. Hi. All right. So when we are working with our problem set, and this is very particular to our problem set, you're actually going to have to take groups of ones and group them into groups of 10. All right. This is so that you can count in a more efficient way. Instead of counting one by one by one by one, you can count by 10s and get your number from there. Because as we're moving forward, the numbers are only going to get bigger. So you need to be able to count them based on their place value. So I have a certain amount of ones on my paper, and I'm going to find a group of 10 and I'm going to circle it. I'm going to find as many groups of 10 as I can and circle them. All right. So 5. All right. There's one group of 10. There's another group of 10. And I don't have enough after that. All right. So just like I did with the sticks and the ones, with the 10s and the ones, I'm going to do the same thing here. The concept, the thought pattern does not change from your 10s and ones to finding groups of 10. All right. So each group is a 10. 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Now, you'll notice that I have a frame for a number bind on here as well. And I want to take this number and I want to break it into parts. Here are the parts I want to break it into. One part is going to be my tens, and one part is going to be my ones. All right. So I said I had 10, 20. I have two tens. It's worth 20. That's what I'm going to put in this box. And for my ones, 1, 2, 3, 4. With your ones, whatever you count, that's what it is. You're counting them one by one. So I have 20 for my tens and 4 for my ones. That's how much the tens are worth, and that's how much the ones are worth. All right, when I put that together, I get the number 24. All right. So let's move on to your exit ticket and your problem set. For your exit ticket, you're going to see various pictures. All right. So in each one of these pictures, you're going to have to group the groups of 10 together and count the ones, similar to what we just did. Now, remember, whenever you see a grouping together, that equals 10. The magic number is 10. So when you see a group of strawberries or a group of crayons, that group is worth 10. Don't worry about counting it. Remember that it's 10. And once you go to count it to put the number in the box, make sure you're counting by, you guessed it, 10. All right, for your problem set, you're doing the same groupings, all right? So make sure you're circling groups of 10, counting those 10s, and then counting the ones that are left to find the total number that you have. I definitely want you to count in the most efficient way. That's the way that you were just taught. Find a group of 10s and count the 10s, then count the ones. I know that you can count them one by one, but that's not efficient. That's going to take too much time. So I want you to find the group of 10s and then count the 10s and then count the ones. Each side of your problem set is the same. And you're going to remember, when you see groups, that group is worth 10. All right. So make sure that you take a photograph of your exit ticket and your problem set and submit that at grade 1 at sfacs.us. And make sure you do that as soon as possible. So I look forward to seeing your knowledge of place value, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a good day.